We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast. That's right. You know what it means. It means, if you hear that sound, it means that it's another week. It's another opportunity for us to chill. We're going to hang. We're going to do our thing. And seriously, just solve some of life's problems. You know, I wish life was that easy, that we can just like come in here every week and like discuss things that trouble us and then just simply find solutions. And if they were that easy, I guess we wouldn't have this many life problems. But it is what it is. My name is Lebang and welcome to another episode of Life with Lebang. You know how I do by now. If this is your first time tuning in, then welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. We have fun here. We chilled. It's relaxed. We do like conversation styles. Like I've got a bone to pick with interviews. The word interview has just become this static, robotic thing that's like very Q&A. Nobody's having conversations anymore. Nobody's just like chopping it up. So I'm on a mission to just chop it up and make sure that I bring you the best guests that I can think of onto the show every single week. And today is no different. I'm actually, you know, I don't want to spoil who I'm chatting to today, but I will say that I've known her for a while, but she hasn't known me. Like, you know, when you know someone, but just like watching them from the distance and you're just like watching their whole journey, but you actually have never met in real life. So I was lucky enough to actually bump into you at an event and the introduction was just like seamless. It was just like, hey, this feels cool. This feels natural. I feel like I'm talking to someone that I've known. And here we are today on Life with Lebang. So please help me introduce my guest today. She is officially Doctor. We don't just call her by the first name anymore. Like those days are over. Today I'm joined in studio by Dr. Allegro Dinkwanyane. Don't want to get that wrong. She's a South African entrepreneur, media personality, a philanthropist, so many things. But more than that, she is a businesswoman and she is a mother and she is doing God's work. But she's been doing God's work. If anything, I feel like this is such an overdue conversation. But I'm happy that we can actually make the time to get you in studio today. And thank you for being here. Allegro, you've literally, you were probably one of the first OG industry PR girls from my era anyway. But at the time, you were also still very young.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to see you just do your thing. When did you decide that I am not going to be a normal 21-year-old who is going to the club and having fun with friends and going to parties? When did you figure out that I actually just want to be a businesswoman in South Africa in this day and age?
Yeah, well, good morning to your listeners and thank you for having me. Like I said, this just feels like it was meant to happen. I'm glad to be here. But I think for me, I figured out what I want to be probably when I was still 16, 17 in high school. I used to tell my friends, most of you will tell you that, listen, she used to scribble her name backwards. And every time they'd ask me, what is this? And I was like, I don't know, but one day it's going to be something. And that's my company. So Ogela is Allegro backwards. Yeah. And that was inspired by Oprah's Harpo company. Harpo backwards, all of that. And I mean, I did go to clubs. So that much I did do. You know, I was at UJ and when it wasn't assignments, exams, all of that, my friends and I, we would go out and you know, have fun. But the difference was when I was in the clubs, I was already networking.
Sure.
I mean, back in the day, there's no club owner that I didn't know because I knew that eventually when I'm working with the artists that I was working with, the celebrities I was working with, I would hook them up with club appearances. I knew like how to get them in. So for me, it wasn't just another fun night out. I was already thinking of the brand and what I'm building.
That's very clever. You know, some of us were just having a good time. We're just there shaking our booties, just living our best lives. But already at that age, you were thinking ahead. It's almost like, you know, you had a calling and you answered it quite early, which is very, very cool. I mean, the world of PR and communications has evolved so much. It's definitely not what it used to be back in the day. I mean, I remember being able to maybe handpick 3 or 4 women who own their 100% women-owned companies. Now there's so many. There's a wide range. The game changes. What are some of the changes and almost like the common stereotypes that have evolved for you in the way that you work and operate? I mean, as the industry changes, you know, so should you, and et cetera. So what are some of the things that you've experienced that you're like, hey, you know what, it's tricky, it's different, but you've had to overcome them as you go about your daily business?
I think PR on its own, a lot of the times, like when we started, it was mainly on like traditional PR. We focus on, you know, you put out a press release. If it was something where you needed to organize like a press conference, it was that. It wasn't as complicated as it is today. You know, today we wake up, there's so many apps, so many features. Every little thing that's popping up needs to be included in a marketing strategy for a brand, needs to be included. You need to always, you know, stay up, keep up with it. Back then there was Facebook, Twitter, YouTube wasn't even as big. You know, if a brand or a celebrity client was just, you know, big on Facebook, it was like everything was just so straightforward. But now, I guess it just makes us work a lot harder, but also it's like you're saying, it's such a wide pool now. It's back in the day, it was like 4 or 5 of us or whatnot that were like independent, owning our own PR agencies.
It was literally just like you, Farah, and Melanie, the end.
You know, that like... for me, that, as you're mentioning that, I'm thinking, yeah, Farah, Melanie Ramji, and don't know. I don't know.
You see?
And funny thing, Melanie I met in the club.
Yeah.
And we just started there. And then we also have a relationship and we know each other very well. So it was just one of those. But I mean, like you're saying, we can't stay back, you know, doing things of the past. We have to move with the times. Technology is just evolving so much that it affects many industries. Our industry has been hard hit, not to mention the pandemic. And then I had to literally take a seat and like look at my vision board and be honest with myself and say, you know what, this isn't working anymore. This used to work back in the day when I started the agency and we thrived and it was amazing. But now you are literally looking at your client list and you've got 2 clients left. What are you doing? And I'm not doing anything wrong. It's the industry that has changed. It's something out of our, you know, control that has impacted so many lives that they've had to cut contracts short. They've had to come to us and say, listen, I can't pay my retainer anymore. Can we halt the services? And now it's like, okay, so when it's a problem that you can fix, it's easy. But when it's something you like, where to from here? You know? And that's where we try and see what other solutions outside of doing PR to the traditional way and, you know, social media and so on. How do we evolve and how do we move the times? Otherwise, we will get left behind.
100%. And many have gotten left behind. Many have gotten stuck. So I'm very glad that you actually brought up your vision board because the idea of a vision board and entrepreneurship, for whatever reason, they're not often mentioned together. Whereas maybe they should be, because a vision board is essentially a plan. It's like a roadmap for exactly what it is that you want to achieve. So you started out with maybe just, you know, doing PR back in the day. And if I look at what you're doing now, you know, it's a whole group of what you've put together. It's events, it's the Boss Chick SA platform, there's Orgella Entertainment, there's the PR and marketing agency. So you've found a way to successfully put many, many things into one umbrella. What does that look like?
I mean, the vision for me has always been that I never just wanted to have one company. I knew that after Orgella Entertainment, because I started actually with blogging, with my entertainment blog.
Yes, you did.
And then I ventured into PR. So I had a freelance gig at Trace Urban for about 2 years. I was 21, 22 at the time. And then I resigned from that freelance gig to go back and focus fully on the blog because it was growing so much. But because I was, you know, doing something else on the side and I was like, no, this needs my full attention. And then, you know, the contacts, relationships that I made while I was at Trace and just really getting into the industry. A lot of my peers, I mean, they were trying to break into the industry as artists. A lot of them were like, you're so good at communications. Why don't you just start something of your own? I got that a lot. And eventually I was like, okay, I think it is the right time. I was comfortable with where Orgella Entertainment was. We were like one of the best blogs in South Africa. In Africa also, we were nominated, you know, blog awards in Africa, Nigeria. So I was comfortable with the growth and the foundation that I had laid for Orgella Entertainment. And then I thought, okay, I think it's time, let me start Orgella Communications, which is the PR marketing agency. And one thing leads to another. You know, you make profits from one business, you reinvest in the next dream and the next dream. And now I'm at 9 and there's a total of 10. I've still got one more. And then I'm going to leave the group as is and just let it grow. And perhaps one day my kids pick up where I left off.
I love that. You know, it really sounds like you've got a plan. and like the plan is like coming into action, which is very good. And I'm glad you mentioned, you know, the kids, because that's also part of the reason why I wanted to actually speak to you today, because in the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey, it was just you and your work, and you got so engulfed in your work, and that's why you got so good at it, because you know, that was your life. You know, that was your whole identity, was just this boss chick, woman CEO, the youngest entrepreneur in the world, blah, blah, blah. Like you were really pushing that, and it really did pay off. But now you're a mom. And that changes everything. It truly, truly does. You can't continue in the way that you previously did. So off the bat, you just mentioned that you've got like 9 businesses that you're running at once. You've got 9 businesses and 2 kids. So you've actually got 13 businesses. Or shall I say you've got 13 kids. What does that switch up look like for you? And how are you managing?
The switch up was a reality check. I think, like you mentioned, like in the beginning, Ogela is my baby. Ogela is my first baby. It's always been my dream, and I'm so grateful to God that I've been able to achieve everything up till now, to this day, that I've achieved with, you know, just really putting my head down and putting in the work. And then when you look up, you're like, oh, you see people clapping and applauding, and you're like, oh my goodness, so people are watching. They see what I'm doing. But my personal goal has I've always wanted to be a mom before the age of 30. I wanted my first kid before 30. And it wasn't like, okay, my cutoff time and whatnot. But I thought, if I can work so hard and get myself to a point where I am happy with the foundation I've laid for my business, my brand, then I can start my family. Because I've always imagined my mom was a young mom, and I want to be like my mom. Like, she was fabulous coming to the parents' meeting. So I was like, I don't want to be an old mom. So, you know, and she'd always be like, yeah, if you want to have more than one, you better start early. So at 28, I had my first child. And I think I was still in denial with regards to I'm just going to wear all the hats at the same time. You know, I'm going to be boss mom. I moved from boss babe to boss mom, and I'm going to handle everything. I remember I gave birth in December. I had literally 1 month off. Luckily, December, I'm home anyway with my family. And then I come back, and then it's January, Feb, I'm back in the office. I leave my 1 month old with my helper, nanny, the whole day. And I thought I could handle it. I thought, you know, I got this. I thought if I drop the ball on that boss babe look, that was my identity. That's how people knew Allegro when they thought of a young, hardworking, independent entrepreneur in South Africa. I was on the list. You know? Definitely. So now it's like, I don't want to let the baby come in between. Not understanding that was my moment to actually just embrace motherhood and embrace the many facets of a woman, basically. You know, don't limit myself into drop the baby at home. I'm going back to office. I need to show the world that I can still just carry on. You know, and then I think after a while, I was just like, no, hang on. I actually want to be a present mom. And I just have to accept that my business might slow down a bit, especially when you're an entrepreneur building your own thing. Sometimes when you sort of slow down, even your team slows down. It's hard to step away and then them just continue at the pace that they're used to with you. So that happened, and I got to a place where I was just comfortable, man. I was like, you know what, I'm happy. I want to have a family, and I want to run the business, and I'll figure it out along the way. 100%. And if it means that I have a few quiet years, you know, working, but not as actively out there in the media, but still just working and also raising my children, then fine. The kids are going to grow very quickly. Before I know it, you blink. I mean, the one I gave birth to in 2018, he's turning 5 this year. Where did the time go? So it's like, focus on the kids. You know, they're going to grow. My last, my second born is going to be 2. Before I know it, he's also going to be 5, 6. And then they're like, Mommy, we don't really need you as much. And then I have to go back to my first baby, Ogela. So I'll have the time, you know. But it was hard to accept at first. The transition was a bit difficult. So I can only imagine, you know, the women out there, the corporate moms, where they have to now leave the babies, go back to an office, and the adjustments, the changes. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I think you are definitely in a luckier position because you run your own business. You work on your own clock. So essentially you can dictate your movements and how much time you spend at home and how much time you don't spend at home. But it's definitely something that we overthink, especially as new moms, right? We like, oh, we got this. You know, I'll be able to go back to work. It's fine. You know, I'll just take maybe like 3 months or
we tell ourselves these things because it's just a societal pressure. Because I mean, naturally and sadly, but historically, there's a male counterpart who's not going to need to take any time off, who can continue to do the very same job that you were doing. So we always want to show up. We always want to just push ourselves up and be the strong black woman in inverted commas. I spoke about the strong black woman term last week, and we had a whole thing about it. But it is what it is. But now more and more, I'm happy to see more mothers just embracing their full motherhood experience. And that doesn't mean cutting off the work or cutting off the kids. We're finding ourselves, in a place of balance, because it's so important to find the balance. Otherwise, it's going to be very tricky. You do.
You lose yourself, and then you end up blaming the kids because your career, went down for 5 years while you were raising the kid. You blame your partner, you blame everybody else. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. Decide that, listen, I'm going to try and find that balance. I mean, there's no really that time where everything is just fully balanced, but try and figure out a routine that works for you. Like you're saying, for me, it was a little bit easier because I sort of manage my own time, even though sometimes because as an entrepreneur, you work around the clock. There's no cut-off time, 5, I'm home. Sometimes there's an emergency meeting later in the evening, and that means I have to make sure I put the baby down, or, I've done everything I need to breastfeed, all of that, and then I can quickly do the meeting and then get back to, so we all face different challenges. And it's really I'm also happy to just be seeing the generation of moms now really just prioritizing themselves. I love when I'm on social media and I see young moms taking a day to go to the spa, taking some time to just be with their children. Weekends, it's all about their children, not hustle mode. Take their kids to the park, the farm, whatever it is, because honestly, work is important. Doing something that you love is important. It's fulfilling. And if you're living within your purpose, for me, Ogela is my purpose. It's all I know. And I've always said that if one day I reach a point where I'm not inspired by the work I do anymore, where God is trying to drive me in a different direction, I'll happily let it go. I'll happily put someone else as CEO, let them ride with the vision and go focus on something else. Maybe that means me retiring at 45, which I always joke about with my financial advisor. I'm like, I want to listen, max 50, please. How are we looking there in the funds? Because I want to. And he says, okay, but now what do you want to do when you retired 50? I'm like, I want to travel again. I've traveled before my babies, and now I'm going to travel with them. And by the time I'm at 50, they're probably like, Ma, go.
Go do your thing.
Especially the boys, they're probably going to be like, you know what, maybe not as clingy. I don't know.
But you hope.
I hope. So by then, I really just want to travel the world and see different, experience different things. So that's the goal. That's the dream. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 30 years.
Whatever you ask for will definitely happen. It'd be like that. You know how powerful your God is. So you mentioned the boys and being clingy. You've got 2 boys, right?
Yes.
I always speak about how kids just have different personalities. Very recently, we did a show here on Life with Lebang about how you can have kids, but they'll all be these individual little things that are just not the same. Trust me, I know. With all my 5, I'm raising individual people that want different things. One wants Kellogg's, one wants cornflakes, one wants Wheat Bix, one wants oats, all in the same morning. It'd be like that. So what kind of personalities do your boys have? And what kind of parenting styles have you had to adopt in order to raise them as individual little boys?
They're definitely different. And I actually thought it was going to be copy paste. So when I was so happy. Funny thing, I've always wanted to just be like a boy mom. Even when I was pregnant with my second, I was just like, I think this is going to be a boy. All the little symptoms that I had with the first, I think this is another boy, Eventually you found out, yes, it's a boy. And I thought, okay, well, great, because big brother's clothes, everything.
Hand me down.
Toys, whatever. He's going to have fun. Exactly. He's going to have fun. And I just imagine them playing together, running around and all of that. And then he comes and then I'm like, oh, you're different. He was quiet, he was calm, and they were both like that as babies. And we thought, okay, no, I have the same baby. Did he, when he started crawling and now getting his little bit of freedom, and now he's like, okay, this is where I'm based. This is my family now. I'm now settled in. He showed us his true colors. Ellie is the life of the party. he's the complete opposite of his big brother, Elo. Elo is very calm. He's the one who's always like, no, Ellie, don't do that. Ellie, you're not listening to mommy. Oh, like he's always in this big brother mode. And I don't know if it just came naturally to him, but he's genuinely he doesn't throw tantrums. Even when he was a baby, he wouldn't like roll around when I say, no, mommy can't get that toy for you now. It's that. And he's like, okay, mommy. And then he'll be a little sad. And then as he started, to learn how to talk properly, he would say, I know next time you'll get it for me, mommy.
Oh.
You won't tell Ellie that. He will scream in the shop. He will roll around. He will do his own thing. And that's how he expresses himself, you know. And he's very like, I don't know if he knows that because I'm the youngest in the family. He just wants to take things. He just wants to do his own thing. And
it's that lost born energy.
I'm like, order. What's happening with you? So differently, complete opposites. We've got a calm big brother. We've got this rowdy, energetic, life of the party, little one. But I think together they make such a great team. My sister was just saying that on text last night to me. I left them with her over this past week. I went to Rwanda on a business trip, and she was like, man, those boys made me so tired. But when I look at them when they're playing, they have this little lingo when they're talking together, and Ellie understands Elo. And when I try and talk to him, I'm like, wait, also the babies get it. He knows what his big brother is telling him, but he's still piecing together language. But she was like, oh, they have these little cute things they do together, these little forehead kisses, these little, and I'm like, they get along. They know what they're doing. So for us, it was an adjustment, but it's nice. Also, I mean, I wouldn't want to have a repeat the same type of baby, same template, It's also just helping me, like you asked. I mean, just parenting them differently. It's not a one manual fits all.
Correct.
I need to know, okay, because Ellie's a bit of he throws tantrums a bit. Maybe he just wants to express himself differently. I need to handle him differently. And with Elo, I need to be a little bit more attentive. Like he likes to he likes to talk and say, mommy, listen, he explains, and you listen to him. Don't just be, yeah, sure, Nana. He wants an answer out of you, and he wants to make sure that you understood. Sometimes he'll say, mommy, you don't understand me. And I'm like, okay, Nana, what are you saying? Let me understand. So he wants your full attention. Listen to me. I'm not going to scream and shout. I need you to listen. So it's I mean, I'm still a new mom. I consider myself a new mom still, and I'm learning every day.
I mean, look, you've been at this for 5 years? 5 years. And you still feel like a new mom. That should tell you something.
Yeah, the little one is just, I'm relearning. Everything I thought I knew with the first goes out the window. It doesn't apply to every baby. 100%. Yes, there's some things where I'm like, okay, now I got this, I know this. But now other things just take you by surprise, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is different. This didn't happen with the big brother. Now I have to learn a different way of parenting, learn a different way of disciplining, and all these different terms that are popping up.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but
parenting.
It's an ongoing journey. That is the beautiful thing about being a parent, is that you're always learning new things and new styles, and it's your kids that force you and forge you into learning new things. You may be raised one way, but you try to apply that to your kids and it may not even work.
Definitely.
So I want to talk a bit about your achievements and accolades. I mean, you are a powerhouse, to put it lightly. So this year you were a recipient of the Africa's Under 40 CEO Award. Last year you were a recipient of the Africa's Under 40 CEO Award in the same year. Orgella Group was identified as one of South Africa's top gender empowered companies, which is endorsed by the Commission for Gender Equality. The UN's Women as Standard Bank top women, amongst so many other things. That's a lot. And that's literally just like a portion. I haven't even mentioned all of them. How do you use being the recipient of so many awards to influence other people? And how are they creating an impact in business and career? Because, there's probably so many people around you that will tell you, oh, I want to be just like you, or you influence me so much, or how did you start? Or mentor, please mentor me. How are you using all of these amazing accolades and all this great recognition to influence those that are going to come after you?
Well, I think firstly, they attribute to the kind of work ethic that I have, and also just the resilience to push through as a female entrepreneur, a young Black female entrepreneur. And then when you are, like I mentioned earlier, you put your head down and you work, and then when you look up, the spotlight's on you, and everybody's like, congratulations, we see the work you're doing. Because I didn't go into this saying, yeah, I want to be on the cover of Forbes. Yeah, I want to be on 30 under 30 list. This is no. I wanted to fulfill my calling, my purpose with Orgella, and making it you know, come alive. It was a dream in high school, and now I'm like, I'm going to work at this thing, not knowing that my story is going to inspire so many young people. You know, I mean, I met at one of these award ceremonies, I met a young lady from, I think, KZN or somewhere, I'm not too sure, but in the country. And she said to me, when I was still studying, you were doing your thing, and I would see you and watch you from social media, and you inspired me. Today I started my business because of you. I'd always see you, your posts and everything. I was like, I was still in school, but I was watching you, and I'm like, I want to be like her. When I graduate, I want to start my business one day. I want to do this. And so many similar stories. And for me, I think I want to use those accolades positively too. It's not a bragging moment. Of course, you pat yourself on the back. It's great. I mean, when you are acknowledged and appreciated, it feels great. But then don't let it get to your head. I always say, like, I see them, I put them there, they're on my wall at home, some are at the office. It's great, but the work continues. 100%. I use it as motivation for myself and for my team, and as inspiration for other young people that follow me on social media. And I always try and say, like, as much as you see me as a role model, no pressure. Allegro is human. Allegro makes mistakes. I might make a mistake in business. I've made many mistakes in business where I beat myself up about it, but then I have to, you know, give myself a day to cry and sulk, and then get up the next morning and find a solution, you know. So it's not to say I have all these awards, I'm perfect, I have, you know, nailed entrepreneurship, I know what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in Africa. We go through challenges every day, you know, that we have to work around and you know, just find a solution.
Keep trying. We keep trying. Today you're like, oh, I got this. You're on top of it. Tomorrow the client tells you end of contract, and you're stuck, and you have to figure things out.
Pitching, and no one is saying yes. Pitch after pitch. You can pitch for 3 months straight and nothing, and then eventually, but if you give up, then you're never going to get it. Eventually, after 6 months of pitching, you get a big client. That's a big breakthrough. So that's the thing with entrepreneurship. Also, it fluctuates. Your income always fluctuates. You're not guaranteed. You don't have the comfort of a 9-to-5 where they know my salary is coming in. Of course, you might be retrenched and all, but you have a contract. You know that that's my salary every month. These are the benefits. With entrepreneurship, I get what I'm receiving from clients and how much my business is making. If I drop clients from 20, middle of the year, I've got 6 left. That does impact your finances, you know, and then you have to continue working to make sure that even if maybe say I keep 3 clients, are those 3 clients paying more than the 20?
Exactly.
You know, so maybe get one big brand, and then fine, we can work on 3 clients the year because they are paying big money. It's a huge contract, like corporate brands and so on. As opposed to maybe you're working with like 10 different like celebrity clients, and then it's, you know, so
it's all over the place.
Sometimes you see people from the outside, you're thinking, oh, shame, man, they've just got 1-2 clients. You don't know how much that client is paying, because you now looking at it from the outside, that agency's got 20. This one just has 2. Maybe there's a reason we just have 2.
Exactly. What if that's just your business model and you want to focus on your 2?
We just want to zone in on those 2, and those 2 are paying more than your 20.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, and also like begging the bazako, like stop worrying about who's got which clients and how much they what. Focus on yourself.
Just zone in on you.
Do you find your own clients if that's what you want to do, and just keep it moving. You know, like watching and comparing, and it's just a waste of time. There's so much that I want to talk about. Oh my gosh, like this happens to me every single week. Like I get into studio, I connect with the guest, and then like I look at my watch and I'm like, damn,
time is going.
So we're gonna organize a part 2. Tepo, my producer, is listening. Tepo, please, can we arrange a part 2? Like we have to just unpack so many other things. Before you go, where can the audience, you know, find out more about you? What's next for Ogela Group? And where can they find you on social media?
Well, what's next for us is the launch of the 10th entity, definitely before the end of 2024, and then that will make the group of 10 companies. 9 would be the 9 in, you know, profitable. The 1 is an NGO. Ogela Helping Hands is our charity foundation.
Wow, yeah.
And then where can they find us? They can find us on www.ogelagroup.com. Read about all the different companies, what they offer. All the info is there. Our contact page, if you want to email the office, if you want to get in touch, the office line, all of it is there. Social media, we are at Ogela Group on Instagram, as well as Ogela Group on Facebook, Ogela Communications. Basically, if you just search Ogela,
you'll find us.
They'll pop up.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Dr. Allegro Dinkwanyane, thank you so much for making the time to hang out with me today. It's been great. I love introducing my audience to strong Black women who are just pushing the tide and are saying, I'm going to do me and you're going to watch me whether you want to or not.
Exactly.
So thank you for being here. And yeah, we'll see you next time when you come through Tepo. Please hook that up because again, it's just like we started talking and then boom, time disappears. Yeah. Right? So good luck to you. Good luck to your family. And I'm excited to see what the group is going to do for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast.